Hello there. This is an episode from the Visual Mind podcast. There are no visuals in this video, it's just audio. If you want to listen to the Visual Mind podcast on Spotify or Google or Apple Podcasts, you can find it there as well and listen to it on the go. But I decided to upload all of the episodes here on YouTube as well, just to reach a little bit more people. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Visual Mind podcast, where we talk about business and mindset for artists. Today, I wanted to talk about a very, very important topic, and it is what to do with failure. If you want to build a business, failure is gonna be a part of it. Whether you like it or not, and whether you want to hear that or not, you are going to fail, and that's okay, because you're going to fail over and over again, and if you are wise, you're gonna learn from that failure, and it's not even gonna be that much of a failure in the end, because you will have learned something from it, and then you can use it later on to become even better. And I really like the quote by Steve Jobs: "You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards." So in the end, all of your failures that you thought at the time were terrible will probably make sense, because in the end it will lead you somewhere, maybe somewhere else. Maybe it's just a redirection from the universe or whatever you believe in. Maybe it wasn't meant to be at that time, but then later on it worked out. So I'd say don't give up with failures. And I wanted to talk about my first and second Patreon launch, because you can clearly see here that sometimes it takes more than once in order to succeed. So the first time I launched my Patreon account was last year in summer, so summer 2019. And I had about 7,000 subscribers on YouTube at the time. And I honestly didn't really know whether other YouTubers with that size of community were already on Patreon, because most of the people I knew had slightly more subscribers. I just knew of one other YouTuber who had like 10 or 15,000, and she was doing quite well on Patreon. So I thought, hey, why not launch it and try it? And I could at least get a few patrons, and I don't have to be super successful right away, but maybe I could start building it. And that was my thought. And I also knew that in business, you absolutely have to start before you are ready. And so even though I completely didn't feel ready at all, I felt like I had to launch this thing. And in hindsight, I can say that I absolutely wasn't ready, and I was way more ready the second time I launched. But I'm still very, very glad that I did it and learned so much from it. So the first time when I launched my account, nobody showed up, not a single person. And later on, I asked my friends and family to join so that I had this social proof that others would join, but not a single person that I didn't know or ask to join personally joined. Nobody. And my friends and family were only there for a month or so, because they didn't want to invest in that long term. And I think that's very reasonable, so I wasn't expecting that. And so this was really hard on me. I remember I celebrated the launch with my friends, because I was trying to get into this new mindset of putting in effort and celebrating the effort rather than the result of the effort. So you get more into this effort-based mindset, that it's a good thing to put in a lot of effort. And so I was celebrating the launch because I had put in a lot of effort, and at that time it was my best effort. So we did celebrate, but it didn't really feel like a celebration, because honestly there was nothing to celebrate yet in my mind, because there were no patrons. And that was the first day. And this really hit me hard. Not gonna lie, I was really devastated that nobody showed up, and this really, really hit me hard. I was so scared. I was scared that that meant that it was never going to work. I was scared that nobody ever would show up, and I was scared that I wasn't good enough of an artist, and so many more things. And this showed me so many things. And so I really had to take the time to kind of look at all those limiting beliefs that came up, and really have to kind of heal from that and take a look at my self-confidence and just build myself back up again. So after I got back up on my feet, I decided to keep growing my YouTube channel and keep building my audience also on Instagram. So I kept creating content, kept posting my art and sharing value with people. And then this year, my YouTube channel reached 10,000, and then pretty much very quickly after that, 20,000 subscribers. And my goal was to relaunch my Patreon account once I had 20,000 subscribers. And then that happened pretty quickly because I had a rather successful video, and that brought me a lot of subscribers. So I wasn't really prepared that I would gain the amount of subscribers so quickly. But in the end, it felt more quickly than it was, because when I launched Patreon the second time in summer, I was at like 25,000 or almost at 30,000. And when I did that, it had been a year since my first launch. So a lot of time actually went by, but I did not want to relaunch my Patreon because I was so scared that the second time nobody would show up again, and that would mean that I'm not good enough. And I was so scared, and I knew that I should not have my self-worth tangled up with the fact that people pay money for my art. I knew that logically, but my subconscious mind, or a part of my mind, really couldn't understand that. So I was really scared, but I was in a whole different mindset this year compared to last year. So I knew that if it failed again and if nobody showed up, I would have all the mental strategies in place so that I could build myself up again and have my head still held high, and I knew that I would be okay again. And I was thinking that maybe if it didn't work the second time, that I would just not relaunch my Patreon for a while and just focus on other strategies to earn money, focus on other things, because maybe Patreon wasn't meant for me. Those were just the kinds of thoughts that I had going into it, but I really wanted to give it my best shot. I really wanted to do everything that I could to make it workable. So I took everything that I learned within this year, and I think that I didn't do the first time was that I actually started to support other creators on Patreon and started to just get to know the platform a little bit more, to just understand what people posted there, what people wanted to see there, how everything worked. And I just didn't do that the first time. I don't know why. I didn't want to invest in other artists. I didn't really have the budget for that at first. But this year, I just saw it as an investment. I wanted to see what others were doing, people that are in the game for a while now, and just know what they are doing on there. I just wanted to see what they post, what are there behind the scenes, and just get some ideas from them. So I did that, just did a little bit of research and checked out what I could be posting, see what I could implement and what would make sense for me. And I also changed the rewards to things that I thought would be a lot more fun, because in the first round I didn't do physical rewards. All the rewards were digital, and a lot of people are successful with that, just having digital rewards. And it is easier because you don't have to send out mail rewards, but I really love sending out mail rewards, and it's a lot of fun for me, and I just wanted to try that. And I don't know in the future if I someday have a lot of patrons, if I can keep putting so much effort into the app, but I just love writing little personal notes and sending out the things that I have as long as I can. At least now for the first round, I just sent little personal notes and just put in some extra bits, and just wanted to make a fun little mail bundle. And yeah, so I added in things that are more fun. I added in an extra tutorial. I added in coloring pages, just things that I thought would be kind of fun for me to create and for others to have. So I rethought all the things that I would offer. And the second time I did put more focus on the value that people get when they sign up, because people do not sign up just because they're nice to you and they want to support you. Yes, that's a factor. They have to really like you in order to do it, but that's not the only reason they're going to sign up. They really want to have some value and they want to get something in return for their money. And at first, when I first launched, I was like, oh my God, please sign up to my Patreon account. It would mean the world to me. You would support me. That would be awesome. And it's just so awesome. And if you can't support me, that's okay. But I was putting so much, emphasis on just people supporting me. And I was trying to pity people into supporting me, kind of. I mean, I wasn't aware of that, but it wasn't a good energy, and I would have never signed up to my Patreon account if I was a different person. I would have never. So I really get why I didn't have any supporters at the time. So the second time around, I wanted to make it a fun experience for everyone. I wanted it for people to be fun and that they could get something really awesome in return, and I wanted to put more emphasis on that and not on the supporting kind of thing. I wanted it to make more like people are buying something and getting value for their money. So I put a lot of emphasis on, yeah, that's the thing that you get. You get those stickers, you get those prints. Those are the things that you will kind of buy when you do that. And I also put a little time limit on it, because the first sticker bundle that I had was only available in August. So all the people that signed up until August was over were able to get those stickers, but after that, those are gone. So I'm probably going to open up an online store at some point, but right now it's not one of my priorities. So the only way to get those stickers was through signing up to my Patreon account, and only in August. So some people really showed up because of those stickers, and they just wanted to be there and have the opportunity to get those stickers. And also, I posted a lot about my launch in advance on Instagram. I did a countdown in my stories. So that's a really good thing that you can use. There are those countdown stickers. You can just put in your final date, and then you can post that like every other day or at least once a week. So people really know, hey, there's a deadline until this is launched. And then I also did a countdown to the last day of August. So people knew, hey, there's a deadline where I can sign up and still get those stickers and those prints that are in the month of August. So I really recommend using all your social media platforms and posting it at least more than once, because if you just post it once, that's not really promoting it. And I thought that a launch would be just like that. You post it once, once and then people either show up or not. But that was really a misconception that I had, and I think a lot of people really promote this misconception that a launch is just a one-time event and you just launch and then that's it. But in fact, it's just like over and over again promoting the thing, and it's just not a one-time thing. It's you post the at first you post those in advance things like the countdown, and then I posted the making of the stickers, the time-lapse videos where I painted those stickers. Then I posted the sketchbook pages where the pieces were in, and said, hey, those are going to be stickers for my Patreon account. So I warmed people up to that. And then when the stickers finally arrived, I did an Insta story with all of them and also an Instagram post with them. And then I did a dedicated Patreon launch YouTube video where I talked about the process and everything, showed the time-lapse paintings for the stickers and some other content that was related to that. And in my YouTube video, I didn't want to focus so much on selling. I wanted to tell a little story. And that's a really great tool when you market something, to tell a story. You can watch the Patreon launch video if you're interested, so you can understand what I mean here. And I just told the story of why I became a YouTuber and how I ended up going back to art. Because when I was little, I loved to draw, but later on I lost my passion due to different art teachers, school, the general mindset of people that they have to be starving artists, and just a lot of things went into that. And then I stopped creating and I did a little detour into photography until I quit that as well and found my passion for painting and art again. And I talked more about that in this video and just wanted to get people involved a little bit and tell them what my mission is. And my mission on YouTube is to get people back into art, to help them find their passion again, and to give them the confidence to do that, and show them that they don't have to be the perfect artist in order to be creative. And I just want to inspire them. So I did my best to include all of those things in the launch video, just to build a connection with people. And I was trying to put a little more emphasis on that rather than selling. But I also mentioned that if they want to have the stickers, they have to sign up until a certain deadline. So those things in combination, I think, worked really great. And I also, again, asked my friends and family to join the account, but I asked them ahead of time. So once I launched the page, there were already supporters on there. You can choose whether or not to display the amount of Patreons and the amount of money that you have on there. And I would recommend to do that, because if you don't, it looks maybe a little bit of not shady, but something like that. It doesn't look as serious. I don't know. And it doesn't look as professional, I'd say. It looks a little bit better if you display your money and Patreon amount. And so I already had a little bit of money and some patrons in there when I first launched, and that creates social proof. People want to see that you are already kind of successful, that others already trust you. Nobody wants to be first when it comes to spending money. This is very, very rare that someone really wants to buy something from someone who has never sold anything. I mean, if you think about buying buying on a platform and you see that there are no reviews for a certain product, you are less likely to buy that because you don't have the social proof that it is a good product. So I already had some people there, and then in the evening of the launch video that I did on YouTube, finally my first real patron, somebody who I don't know, have never heard of, showed up, and she signed up to the $18 tier, which is the second highest tier. And in this tier you get the stickers and the prints and everything else. And yeah, I almost cried when that happened, because I think that the first person is just so special, because you can see that it really works and that somebody is out there who decided to show up, to invest. And that's just so awesome. And when I wrote her a thank you note, I told her that I almost cried happy tears. And I hardly ever cry happy tears. I'm not a happy crier. So I was really happy, and a lot of weight had been lifted because of that. And it just made me so happy and so proud that I showed up again and put everything into that. And then more people showed up over time. At the moment, I have, I think, 16 patrons, and my friends, they have quit. So I think out of those 16, probably 14 are people that I don't know. So that's just amazing. And I mean, I'm not the most successful person on Patreon at the moment, obviously, and I could never make a full living out of that right now, but I'm only in my second month, and people actually have showed up, so I think that that's a big deal. And I have just learned so much, and I have learned that I have to promote it over and over again, and it happens over time. I have to offer people value. I have to mention it in like every other YouTube video and do little shout outs at the end of videos, so people really see that I have a Patreon and it's worth supporting. So yes, I learned a lot from that, and I'm gonna fail again. I'm absolutely sure that at some point when I try something in business, it's gonna fail again. And I know it's just a matter of definition, what you count as a failure and what you don't. But I don't really care how you word it. But in the end, all that matters is what you do with it and what you do when it happens and when you have setbacks and obstacles, because those are going to occur whether you want to or not. You can try to avoid them, but you will never be successful if you try to avoid failure, because this is just such a crucial thing to learn from. And I know that that's a cliche, but it is a cliche for a reason, and you really have to get comfortable with the fact that not everything is going to work in your favor and not everything is going to happen the way that you plan it. And you just have to be rock solid sure about why you are doing everything and why you want to keep going, and don't let anything set you back, and just keep going and learning, and just refrain your mindset from why is this happening to me to what can I learn from that, because that changes everything. And I really hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you learned something from it. And let me know if you have any requests for other episodes. You can find me on Instagram at Visual Mind Art, and you can find me on YouTube on my channel Visual Mind. And all the other social media platforms have similar names to that. So feel free to reach out to me. If you like this podcast and you listen to it on Apple Podcast, I believe it's called, then please give it a 5-star review, because it helps a lot. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you're having a nice day. And until next week, goodbye.